What's going on, everyone? So this is not an informative video by any means, just some of a few ideas I kind of had I wanted to start implementing in the business going into the end of this year and next year. And I just kind of wanted to spout them out into existence and maybe have some of you guys who do similar things or know someone that does. You could throw down your comments, how it's worked out for you and what your game plan was and stuff. So the thing I want to focus on with the business is doing what I can to make it a less labor-based job. And obviously, one way to do that would be to hire out employees to where I could focus on operations and marketing and like the day-to-day stuff, which is my goal long term. But I feel like I'm in this like up and down situation where like I'll have a month where it's like I probably could have had a couple of people work for me even full time. But then I have other months where it's like, like I didn't even make enough to pay for the business bills plus all of mine. And I have to do like side move jobs or sell stuff to make the extra income. I would say for the most part, my average month covers the business and my personal expenses. And then anything extra I do is extra income. But at this point, I'm basically, to cover both incomes, I'm breaking even for the most part. So, like, it's kind of tricky, I guess. Like, I need to make sure that, like, every month is consistently, like, in a surplus until I can hire someone out. Because the last thing I want to do is hire someone, even if it's just part-time, but hire them out, having them, take, time off in their week to be there for me, and I don't have anything to give them. And I can't just like afford to just have them like, it's not like the bigger companies where you're like, yeah, go wash all the trucks and I'll give you, 4 or 5 hours worth of pay. So you have something. Like I can't afford to do that. So it makes things a little tricky. Like my goal is to hire someone part-time by next year, in the spring, or maybe even late spring heading into the summer. And then hopefully by then I have more consistency where I can keep them on throughout the winter. But I just don't see it being a feasible thing right now. Something I am trying to keep in mind is just to take a little bit of a load off myself would be to hire out help on these bigger jobs, even if I don't need it, but just to take some of the toll off my body. Even if that means losing a little bit of profit. But otherwise, it's like, because I get so stuck in my head, it's like, oh, well, if I hire someone out, I may be losing 75 to 125 bucks if it's a good sized job, whereas it's like, I could do this myself. I know how to. I do it every day. I could do it. I don't have to kill myself bringing down a sleeper sofa down 3 flights of stairs or something. But do I want to pay someone, for a day's work? So that's where it gets kind of tricky with me. I don't know if that's me like being cheap or if it's more of like if I can do it myself, why have someone else do it too? So I'm trying to teach myself that it's okay to hire people out even if I lose a little profit, because at the end of the day, it's going to make my life a little bit easier. So I'll work on that, promise. But I guess my goal is to make things less labor intensive, and I have kind of 2 ideas behind it. The first one, I actually thought about this when I first started the company, but I kind of lost the thought of it, and it recently came back to me a month ago when I saw a junk truck where it was black and yellow, and I've never seen a black and yellow junk truck around here. So I immediately Googled who they were and found their website. And it was a self-service junk removal, which I thought was kind of cool. Now, I've had an idea about this in the past, I just didn't have the vehicles for it. But they had junk trucks, obviously they have multiple of them, it's a franchise apparently. And they would bring the trucks and drop them off in the driveway, and they would charge clients based on either wait time or how much room it took up in the truck, or all 3. And let the customers load it themselves, kind of like how you would if you were to drop off a dump trailer or a dumpster. It's a rental. But the main difference is you leave the whole truck there. So you just back in, you either, I don't know, take a lift back to the office or something, or just sit in the truck and wait. And when their time is up, you take payment and you leave. You can go dump it or do whatever. So just more of a convenient route, I guess. But they charge by quarter truck, half truck, 3/4, full truck, and they had weight limits for each increment, and they had a time limit too. And then if you like surpass any of these things, they would do a surcharge. So I feel like that would just be a more convenient way if you have multiple trucks to do so than doing the dumpsters or the trailers. I always just get nervous. Obviously, a dumpster's not going to go anywhere. I get nervous leaving trailers behind though, because if someone really wanted to, they could take your trailer. Like, I lock up my trailer every day, but I mean, it's more of a deterrent. If someone wanted to, they can break all my locks. People know how to do those things. So you have to put in a little bit of work, but it could be done. I guess with a junk truck, you'd be a little bit more secure. So maybe that's just me thinking. I don't know. Maybe I'm paranoid about it. And then obviously that's more of a future thing, but I like the concept idea. Now, if I were to get a dump trailer, which is kind of like the goal for next year, just to take the labor load off of myself for when it comes to offloading at the dumps. And then on top of the labor, it also will guarantee that I can carry more weight. Most dump trailers have a double axle, so I can hold up to 7,000 pounds in it. And that would be beneficial because that means I could start doing more construction jobs. I can take heavier loads without having to worry about the trailer frame. And I could use it as a rental trailer and dump it in someone's driveway and just leave it. They fill it up however they need to. I just go dump and be done with it. But that's a more expensive purchase. I've already priced it out in my area. And to get a 14-foot dump trailer with at least 4-foot walls is around like $13,000 after I get it wrapped. And then if I wanted to get a 14-foot with 27-inch walls, which is the next increment down, they're like $9,000, $10,000. So obviously that's a little bit bigger chunk of change, but that's probably like the most feasible option before you get to the junk truck level. And then my more cheaper option would be to just buy multiple utility trailers, whether I can get some that are used, maybe a little beat up and I can clean them up, or just one that's a couple years old. Because it's not like a truck where it's like you have so many mechanical issues going on with it that the longer you drive it, the more problems there are. The main thing with a trailer is the frame and the tires, and you can replace tires. So that would be another option. And if I just got the walls done on it, or if I built my own walls, even if I left the one I have as like my more professional one, and then just made like wood walls for everything else and just did a nice clean paint job on it and got stencils and made it look as professional as I could, that I could use those as additional storage, or if I have big jobs I can just come swap it out, or I can do like metal runs or donation runs or something, just to give me more freedom of options, I guess. But that would be a more cheaper route, but I wouldn't be solving the problem of still having to offload it myself and still having a little bit of a weight limit. And then another option, again, it's not going to necessarily alter my labor side, but what I was originally looking into when I was still using the U-Hauls for my jobs was between the truck and trailer. The other option was to get a box truck like the U-Hauls, but with a higher ceiling cap. So like one of the short but tall ones, so I could stand up pieces easier so they don't take up so much room. And try to get one preferably with a lift gate, just so it would make things a little easier, especially if I'm by myself, than having a ramp. And I could probably find that for, with a working lift gate, probably 20 to 35,000 used. So that's always an option. And although yes, I'd have to offload everything by hand, I did find that like with the U-Hauls, it was easier in a sense where, I just bring everything to the door and just dump it right out the back because it has a drop to it. Whereas when I went the trailer, I can't just like toss a couch off the end because then it just falls and hits my gate. And I always worry about it messing with the spring coils on the side. So I always have to walk it off my gate and then dump it. So it's just a little bit extra exertion that you have to deal with. So with the lift gate or with the box truck, at least I could just bring stuff to the edge and dump it. Not to mention it would be enclosed, so I could keep all my equipment in there and lock it up. I don't have to worry about hauling stuff back and forth and, forgetting a dolly or something. Plus, if there's something that I want to keep, I can, leave it in there in the meantime so it doesn't get damaged from the rain or whatnot. So, just a few options. I'm going to kind of explore them all. I really like the idea of doing like the dumpster or trailer rentals because I look at it as like passive income. So if I can go out and do all these, let's say I leave a dumpster or a trailer at someone's house for 4 days, and I'm charging, I don't know, $350 a day for that rental. If I can go do all my jobs normally and just come back every day to go dump the trailer and bring it back empty, I'm making that $350 every day while I'm still working somewhere else. And I'm not having to do the work. The only thing I'm doing is picking it up, dumping it, and bringing it back. So I'm really intrigued by that idea. That is something that I want to get into. And then I'm probably I'm moving in with my girlfriend soon, and she's really into like doing, well, she's not into it yet. She thinks she will be. But restoring furniture and then like reselling it. And my aunt and uncle actually do that in Orlando. They're retired and they used to be business owners, and they just got bored and they're like, let's start restoring furniture. And now they do enough that like they pay for both incomes or both monthly expenses and stuff. So now they can use their income for other stuff. So we may try to do that on a slightly smaller scale, of course, but just to kind of bring in money, maybe just to pay for like house projects and stuff. Like we need a new garage door. She wants to get the driveway extended, and there's some little small things that I want to get done in the backyard. So, all the money we sell stuff for, I can just go ahead and reinvest into that. Kind of take a little bit of a load off us. So, I don't know. Those are just kind of my ideas. So if any of you, I know a lot of you guys do rentals and you guys have multiple trailers and stuff. If you could just comment down below, like what was your game plan going into it? What did you find to be the most suitable and like the more ideal route to take? Whether it's cheaper or just for quality, like what was the better route for you that you've learned? Or mistakes you've made and you learned from? Because that's what my whole channel is about, is I'm just documenting my life as growing this business and, talking about the marketing strategies that I do and finding what works better, or, the mistakes I've made and how I've corrected it. And, that's all this is. So this is just another step another piece in the puzzle that I'm just trying to figure out. So if you guys could let me know what you do, that would be great. Sorry, this is a 14-minute video of me just babbling about stuff. But it's stuff I think about in here and it applies to the business. So it's got to go somewhere.